let's say, a complete secure environment for industrial products. So there are a couple of other aspects coming into. One of it is actually that in cyberspace and Industry 4.0, certification of the different components is a must, and you have to have very, very strong certification of the different objects to be put together. The other thing is actually that the problem of security, at least from our research point of view, is what is called NP complex. So you'll never find I think a secure solution for that. Meaning actually that we have to start to live in an insecure world and actually learn to live in an insecure world. Meaning actually that you have, if you create systems out of components, you have actually to be able to calculate the risk. The risk actually you introduce by putting together whatever kind of software, hardware components from different manufacturers in a specific application domain. So I think there are a lot of new things to think about in this environment, and Industry 4.0 is really an impact. There's a lot of impact in Germany for the industrial type of thinking towards distributed system communication, ITC and things like that. But there is at the present time in the space of security and trustworthy in this field a lot to be done before you will have really secure industrial internet. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. So just to give you some more examples there, we are talking about 1 trillion objects to be connected to the internet. Actually, I was just talking to an expert on brain activity. He was telling me the internet is becoming like the brain. You know, every object will talk to each other in the same way the neurons on your brain send signals to another. So we are working towards a world and everything is going to be connected. So people, now we are only connecting 800 million objects to the internet, which are mainly mobile phones. Those are the only connected devices for the time being. In plus of that, you have something like 3 billion people now also connected. So imagine the interactions of one person versus object. That is exponentially changes the number of connections that you have to secure. For instance, in Switzerland, my company WISeKey started about 4 years ago, working with watch manufacturers. We have already 1 million watches in Switzerland and they are certified by WISeKey, means that they have a digital ID. The watch itself has its own digital ID. As you have your passport or your carte d'identité, the watch that you buy from that specific manufacturer has a digital ID. And now we are even going one step further. Friday here at the World Economic Forum, we're going to be releasing something we call WISeWatch, which I have here. This is a WISeWatch, I'll show you later. But this watch is my identity. This watch decrypts my mobile phone. So I send from the watch through NFC a digital ID that decrypts totally my phone. My phone is totally encrypted. If I lose my phone, nobody can use it because the key of the phone is on my watch. So those are very concrete developments that shows that the technology is ready to go. And the good news is that big corporations, that they're investing a lot of money in supply chain management, in manufacturing, they are now willing to put those IDs into their product. So as we're moving towards ID, maybe you discuss a bit the identity aspect, which I think is essential to understand how the internet works. A lot of people don't realize that when the World Wide Web was created, the identity was not even thought about it. Nobody thought at that time that the World Wide Web or the internet will need an identity. Because the spirit of the web by the pioneers of the web was to be totally anonymous. And that has created an interesting aspect. But by being anonymous, meaning everybody can participate, but that includes also the bad people which use the internet for illegal actions. So the identity element is something which is very important, and I think the visions of Thomas on identity and how he has been working all his career on identity will be very likely.
Well, thank you very much, Carlos, for those words. And I think it's interesting that Carlos, when he was going to describe himself, he showed his watch. There are many different ways of presenting who you are. And when we think of the world out there, it's really a place that's, of course, it's extremely diverse, and in many different kinds of environments, people they identify themselves in different ways. Now, I'm based in the Middle East. Some, maybe 1 or 2 generations ago for sure, you identified yourself with a number of camels. Today, the camel has been replaced by the Ferrari. The young man comes in a restaurant, in a bar and so on, and how is he going to prove himself, to demonstrate who he is? Well, he puts his car keys, the white car keys on the table, and it's the smartphone, it's the latest smartphone. And maybe there is some academic degree and so on that matters, the brand of it. This is one way of identifying yourself. The reality is, as Carlos said, that in the digital world that has been developing, these issues were not really addressed from the outset, and they've been hanging in there from all along without being properly resolved. There is a patchwork of solutions, a patchwork of passwords and various identities, incomplete. You need to move towards more of a coherent framework for trusted identities. Without that, you're going to be stuck in a situation we have today with a severe trade-off, in fact, between usability on the one hand and security on the other hand. And I think this is very important to understand. Of course, as Professor Rado says, the world is insecure. We're never going to resolve all those problems and so forth. But you can't be stuck with this kind of severe trade-off that you're faced with now. And the reason we cannot have it like that is all that change that's being described here. In the world of convergence, of big data, of ubiquitous communication and computing with artificial intelligence, this is just not going to work out. Maybe 7-8 billion people online, trillions of devices. So in short here, we had a session last year, and we've had good responses to it. We proposed some new work. Actors, different stakeholders, also from finance, as we will hear about, need to get together with governments and others, and it has to be, of course, regionally organized to some extent, but there also has to be that global connection. So against that, that background, and as part of that process, we prepared a document which we refer to as the Davos Charter 2015. It's a project Dictio, and Dictio, I think Carlos were maybe responsible for this, bringing up this term again. It's Greek, and it means network. And in here we take stock of the development that's ongoing. And we propose that those who are interested and who believe in a joint effort on this, that they sign off on this document here today. You have a look at it first, of course, and you can sign later. So this is not, it doesn't have to be done today, of course. And here the undersigners would agree to the importance of mitigating the security risks and increasing trust in the dense digital environment that's underway. And that we initiate effective collaboration to put in place such a coherent system of electronic identities. Not a single set of identities, of course, it's not the point. The point is a system where it works out with derived identities and consistency across the board. And that it operates for human beings as well as for devices. And part of the picture, which has to be with us going forward, is about also putting the users in better control of their digital identities. And that includes how data is being used, how it's being shared. It's not about putting a cap on the data, but it is about having a say and being able to be engaged in that. That's not something that individual people around the world can manage on their own. You have to have the development of services, of operators, who can take the part of individuals. And there we come really also to the heart of the business model issue. It's not about technology. It's very much about people, and it is about business models. and that people request the solutions, that services are developed, and there is professional support for that. That's the only way in which we can pave the way for these solutions. And in there, again, trusted search and other e-services must be part of the picture. And eventually, the objective here is to achieve a coherent system for trusted identities that, again, operates for human beings as well as for the digital devices, and that we get the various stakeholders engaged. So happy to come back to further discussion, and again, this will be put on the table. I think, Jona, at some point here, you can share that, so
Yeah.
everyone